Hello friends, this is your Patriot John Adams putting up a video for Infinity Dollar Bill. This is my main Twitter at $2 you can see. I also have a backup Twitter at INF Dollar Bill. But today we're going to be talking about the recent Bitcoin crash and what I think is the cause of this. So I do believe this is an incredibly great time to start buying Bitcoins. It would be similar to buying Bitcoins around this period, or kind of like this period, except I believe we're dealing with a situation where this one went lower than this drop. So we're right about here. If this had been snapped down a little bit, so it's probably going to go sideways or like move up towards 400, 500, and then go ready for another spike sometime when the events call for it. But it's important to know that right during this time, this is when the Fed seized the Silk Road Bitcoins, and this is the time when the Feds started to sell, or at least sold most of the Bitcoins. So you can see here, the Feds took down the Silk Road in October 2013, and they started to sell the Bitcoins around February or late January of 2014. So it appears that the Feds basically are kind of trying to shake Bitcoin loose in a way. They took the Bitcoins when they knew it was about to spike up anyway, so that caused it to spike up higher than normal, and then they just held onto these Bitcoins. They were able to make a profit because I believe they sold them around the $900 or possibly $700 region, but so they made a damn good profit. And they may have sold a little bit up here to cause this ridiculous like double, triple top, at least a double top for sure. But actually the people were reporting they had been tracking the Bitcoins. Bitcoins were being sold in this time, but I believe almost all the Bitcoins, like a huge majority of the Bitcoins, were sold right here. All of them, almost all of them were taken right around there and then sold there. So, you know, they're trying to raise Bitcoin up and just make it look more volatile. It's kind of like, or this sell-off here, as long as they have enough to kind of like get things going, like a snowball effect. They had enough to push it down the hill. If there's some people on the hill who are kind of like barely hanging on, they're gonna get hit by the snowball and start to go the direction downhill with the snowball and cause a massive avalanche, which seems to be how the Bitcoin crashed. So furthermore, we also have the MountGox exchange. So right now what I believe is going on with MountGox is that, well, you know that MountGox is reporting a much lower price of Bitcoins. The main reason for this is because MountGox is probably, they're having cash flow out of MountGox and into the holders of, or the former holders of Bitcoins. So they want to lower the amount of cash that they're getting rid of. So what they did is they just lowered their price down as low as possible, and basically anybody selling out has to sell their Bitcoins for, you know, much less. And in a way it kind of makes sense because MountGox is like, they don't necessarily know if it could go down to zero or something. Like if all the sheep just freak out and run over to MaxCoin, not that that's the worst thing you could do, you know, but sheep, it's all up to the sheep. If all the sheep run out of Bitcoin, then there's nothing really for Bitcoin to do except for just adapt and everybody get a new coin. So MountGox doesn't really have total control over that, but it does seem like they lowered their price down to absolute dirt bottom so that anybody right now selling out their Bitcoins like a sheep, you know, they don't get anything practically. They're getting what, 150, 200. And that also is like it's a financial strategy, but it's just something strange that we're now seeing with exchanges. So a Bitcoin exchange is like a collective place where they're buying and selling Bitcoins, and they do end up stacking up a central amount of Bitcoins, which can be robbed. So it's very important that if you do have your money in a Bitcoin exchange, that you should take it out and you should put it into your own personal wallet. That's just what you need to do. Otherwise you're risking your Bitcoins. Your Bitcoins have a very high risk associated with them. I personally wouldn't invest more than $10,000 or so into Bitcoin. at all. The less money that you spend into Bitcoin, the less risk you're dealing with. So it's very important to know. So what I expect the price to happen, there's going to be a recovery of some sort, unless everyone flows into a new coin, which is definitely possible, but not likely because so many people have Bitcoin wallets and such. So it does seem like we're going to have a recovery. I believe that this was a kind of manipulated. It just was manipulated higher and then pushed down lower by the Bitcoins, which was taken by the Fed. But also it seems that the MountGox thing is pushing this down even further, because now they're reporting, oh, well, our price is only $100. Cash out your Bitcoins, you get $100. See what I'm saying? So MountGox may not go out of business. They could also be doing this to try to recover their own personal losses of some sort, or if they spent some of the Bitcoins that they were supposed to be holding on to. So they're making some type of recovery gains. Let me know what you guys think. This is your Patriot John Adams, making a video for InfinityDollarBill.com. Hope to see you guys soon. Take care.